Hi out there in the YouTube world. This video is going to be on radiant energy, or the ether, all of which surrounds us constantly in different vibrational frequencies, okay? You can call them interdimensional, because they aren't really accessible on, a day-to-day life, like our perceptions of all of our five senses, okay? Maybe your sixth sense can have a little understanding of this, but that's pretty much it, okay? And that's actually key to a lot of this, is your imagination. Because Tesla and certain people were actually able to envision these things in their mind, almost like a premonition, and then they developed devices that worked, okay? So, it just goes to show you that creativity is a good thing for this. Now, what I want to get to is that with Tesla, if you look up on Google, or any search engine would suffice, look up Tesla, his radiant energy patent. It's available, free to the public. Highly recommend to maybe download it, keep a copy of it for yourself, just in case it becomes removed. It's titled, I have it up on another computer screen, Apparatus for the Utilization of Radiant Energy. And it was published on March 21st, 1901. Okay? So, the point of this video is not just about Tesla, okay? Because that's one inventor. But there's other people, just in case you haven't heard of them. Charles Stienmetz, he worked alongside with Tesla to give us all of our modern day electrical wiring, basically, the math and the understanding that went behind it. And a lot of Steinmetz's material has been forgotten and kind of sloughed to the side, which is really disrespectful, considering that he's actually the founder for a lot of the math. And he believed in ether, or radiant energy, which permeates the cosmos. You could call it dark matter, but it's not really the same thing. It's similar, but let's not get into that. There's also Henry Moray, who's very important. He created devices which could tap the ether. Highly recommend looking into him. Again, tapping the ether and vibrational frequencies. Now, if you go back in time, a really long time ago, people used to argue whether or not the Earth was flat or round. They even argued about whether or not air, air, whether or not it's a thing, whether or not it has a physicality or a molecule, like oxygen and hydrogen and all that, and people used to think that just the empty spaces between things were empty until things like air pressure and, understandings of the atom and things of that nature were discovered. So yeah, we've come a long way, but have we in the last 100 years, really? Because a lot of this stuff didn't need oil or coal or any type of energy input other than the sun or the galaxy itself that we're in for it to function and produce energy. Now, that was 100 years ago. Over 100 years ago now. Come on, it's 2014, okay? It's time to get with the system. The galactic system, okay? Why do we need to burn shit from the ground? Oh, 'cause money. That's why. And we all know why. Because a lot of this shit's been totally suppressed, so that's why I'm mentioning it, so that look these people up and inform yourself about them, and then you can educate yourself according to that. So that also Stan Mier, in about 1990, like 2 years after my birthday, around 1988, he had a car that ran on water. And it didn't matter if it was distilled or tap water, it would still function. Now, the byproduct of the car running on water was water. Because the car would actually split the water, it was an OHHO generator, which the machine that he used did apply some of Tesla's understandings and knowledges about the ether, but it was still his own device, but nonetheless, even though it had a fuel that it burned, water, its byproduct was still water. So, and whatever happened to that, you know? If you look him up, and a lot of people said that he died or was shot. And first of all, I want you to all understand that a lot of these people actually haven't been shot or murdered or harmed. Some of them, yeah, okay, like JFK, we all saw that, that was on film. But I mean, there has been a lot of people that people just assume that it's been, they're dead just because, no one's heard anything from them. And some of these people might have gotten threats and stuff, but it doesn't mean that they're dead, okay? Because he's still alive. I don't know if currently he's still alive, but he was running that water-powered car for quite a long time. And if there's lots of video footage of him still alive when he was older, after all of this was on the news. So they didn't assassinate him right away. But, yeah, and Eric Dollard, very key, important figure for all this, for understanding some of the mathematics behind it. Not just the mathematics, but also some of the visualization and understanding, which is important. A lot of his lectures can be kind of long, and if you're not, a math major, some of the concepts might be a little mind-gobbly for you. But I want you to know that if I've gone through and watched some of these, freaking 2-hour videos where he does demonstrations, you should too, just to see what you could take in from it, because I'm not, a mathematician or nothing, so a lot of that just kind of goes over my head, but I'm also getting an understanding of it from the sense of, hard for me to really explain to you, but, I won't bother with that. Let's just continue the video. Eric Dollard, look him up. He's important. And Ed Leedskalnin. Everyone's heard of that, right? Coral Castle, or Rock Gate, as he liked to call it. This was a little teeny man. He was only 110, 120 pounds or something. Really small man. From Latvia or something. I kind of don't remember, but he was from out somewhere else, and he immigrated here, but he brought all this technology, and he was able to quarry multi-ton stones all by himself using tubes and radio frequency devices and pulleys, and a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that today, and he did that a long time ago. And it was using a lot of these kind of technologies that are just kind of being shushed and shunned and hootenannied and whatever and poked fun at, because a lot of the people that poke fun at this kind of stuff have no fucking understanding, pardon language, but no fucking understanding of the concepts, because they haven't researched into any of it themselves, and they're only going by the classical electron theory, where it's a physical thing spinning around an atom. And Tesla and a lot of other people who've come up with new devices had to think outside of the box to create a device that's different than one that we've already created in the box, okay? Using scalar energies and the radiant energy, which is in the cosmos, and I keep saying it's throughout the air, it's in the atmosphere, it's in the earth, it permeates all things, living and non, and depending on devices that can be built, there's different ways of circuitry to create a self-feedback loop, where the system actually has a loop which doesn't actually take up much energy at all, but then that loop feeds other energy systems which are connected to it in the ground with an antenna, and then you have this dynamic vortex energy that you create, which can utilize electrical flow. I want to read you a little epiphany, and this is purely my my work, 100%, so there's no copyright to me reading this, because it's That's the date when I came up with the epiphany, but it's really important, I think, for some understanding. This energy, radiant energy, or static energy, whatever you want to call it, it behaves in often contradictory ways. Electric and magnetic phenomenon are linked together through a 90-degree angle. Static seems like an electric phenomenon, but in many ways it behaves much differently. Bulbs of a very low wattage would experience high resistance. Conversely, if a high wattage is used, very low resistance is exerted on the bulb. That's with static energy, or Tesla's ether, which some of these devices could, Tesla and even people in presentations that I've seen post-2010, that they can touch these devices and even hold them underwater, and they will not electrocute you, but the device will still operate because they're safe. They're safe for humans or for biological things, and they'll still operate. So, and wirelessly. After the capacitors have been charged of radiant energy and are discharged through a spark gap, electrons or conventional energy are now introduced to the circuit. It is always important to keep in mind whether you are dealing with static, radiant energy, or the conventional kind, the electron, because much like electricity and magnetism being conversely complementary, so too is electricity and static. You merely need to change the circuit or environment to better meet the conditions of the energy. Yeah, so that was my little epiphany. Wrote that down February 11th, 2014. And hope that you have learned a little bit of something from Tesla and all that. Look this stuff up. And yeah, turn off the TVs, turn off the distractions. There's people dying all over the planet who do not have energy, who could have had this energy over 100 years ago for free. Need it not be for greedy control warmongers who seek to control the world. And it's got to stop soon, because there's people all over the world that are making these devices, and they're working. So you kind of can't suppress that anymore. But love you and love the planet. So do what's right.